Hi everyone, welcome to this video. We wanted to have a monthly partner spotlight, and today we have on the call with us Leah, the CEO, founder, and nut butter queen of American Dream Nut Butter and the genius behind all the magic, along with Breanne Freeman, who is our partner spotlight of the month. And we'll go ahead and get started and get into it. I just wanted to ask Breanne to give a brief background of herself.
My name is Breanne Freeman, and I am a nutrition and fitness enthusiast. And my journey through all this actually began when I was really young, and I was a self-proclaimed cardio queen, and it wasn't until much later that I fell in love with weight training, and I fell in love with nutrition and all that, because all of those have a very important role in the physique that we want to get. So I've taken a big interest, especially on the nutrition side, as that has evolved, especially because a lot of people really struggle with that. And that is definitely why I love American Dream Nut Butter, because the macros are amazing, and I love the flavors. I love everything about it. I love what the company stands for. So that's a little bit about me.
And then how did you guys meet?
Leah, do you want to take that on?
Sure. So it's a little strange because we had a clothing company before. Like, that's what we started with. Was my husband had an apparel company called American Mayhem, and he was basically just like, finding like people on social media that he thought would align well with his brand and reaching out to them, and kind of like trying to drag me along with him. And I was kind of like kicking and screaming the whole way because it's not my like natural persona to be like that, and I don't really get into clothing or anything like that. So anywho, he comes to me one day and he's like, I have this girl Breanne Freeman that I've been talking to on social media, and she's ripped, and she's like nice, and like blah blah, all this stuff about Breanne. So anywho, he's like, she wants to have a call with you, and I'm like, me, like, why me? So I'm like, okay, I guess I can do that. And I was totally nervous. I'd never even like seen her social media before until right before I talked to her. He's like, this is who you'll be talking to. And I'm like, okay, what am I talking to her about? And he's like, you're going to talk to her about like the girls' apparel. And I'm like, okay. Like, I don't know anything about like women's apparel. I'm like the blind leading the blind over here. So we started talking, and we're talking about, the women's clothing and stuff like that. And then I think she asked me to like somehow like talk about me, or like things that I like or what interests me. And I started talking about like these nut butters that I make. Yeah. And so long story short, she's like, that's where your passion lies, is in these nut butters. You should run with that. And I'm like, what? Like, my husband's been telling me that too, that like I need to take him to these bodybuilding shows, and I need to do this, and I need to do that with these butters, but I would never do it. Like for 3 years, he was telling me to do it. So it was kind of like hearing it from Breanne and her giving me that push that like, this is what you're passionate about. You should turn this into your business. And then I'm like, well, I'm going to need some help with that. So she helped me create like the first 4 flavors that we came up with. I sent them to her, and she taste tested them and sent them back to me. And like, that's how taste testing was born. And like, it's become like this elite club that people are part of. Yeah. She was the one that like catapulted the whole thing. And then like, once we started on social media, I had 12 followers, which I think was like my dad, my mom, my brothers, like pretty much my whole family. That was it. And then we did a giveaway with Breanne, like it launched, and we got like thousands of followers just from her one giveaway, and it just snowballed from there.
Yeah. It's like, I can remember that conversation, Leah. I remember exactly where I was in my office at that time, and you were talking about the clothing, and I was like, yeah, send me samples. That's fine, but clothing is hard. I always feel like that's a really hard business to get into, because it's a really easy business to get into. But the minute that you start talking about, oh, by the way, I got these peanut butters, I can send you some samples. And I was like, girl, yeah, send me some samples. Like, people love food, like, and they love good food, and especially peanut butter. Like, send me these samples. So I remember I got them. I was like,
this is it.
love that peanut butter.
What were the first 4 flavors what were the original flavors that you taste tested?
Oh my gosh. Okay. My very first one that I can remember was the chocolate peanut butter cup.
Okay.
That was my favorite. It might have to come back. I feel like there was a cookies and cream, but there were no chunks in these. Like these were
they were smooth.
Yeah, they were all very smooth. I can't remember the others.
It was peanut butter fudge, which we still have because that was like my very first blend ever.
Yeah.
And then a salted caramel.
The caramel, yeah. Yes. I do remember that. I remember the peanut butter cup because it was like the chocolate and the peanut butter, and obviously like those 2 things have like my name all over them. I was in love. Like that was my favorite from the very beginning. And I don't remember like when the chunks started coming into them, but I remember the very first jar that I can recall with chunks that like threw me off was the almond butter cake batter. Was that the first one that had chunks in it?
No, the first one was white chocolate pretzel peanut butter.
Oh.
I don't know why I don't remember that. I remember because that's kind of like where Breannes Blend came from.
Yeah, that's the next question I was about to ask was like, how did Breannes Blend get started?
Leah's, she would always send me all of her samples, all of, whatever, because the almond butters came later. It was always peanut butter first. She launched almond butters, and she would send me, obviously I would get a jar of everything. And then I remember getting the almond butter cake batter, but because it was vegan, didn't have protein powder, because, I'm a macros girl. I love the extra protein. It kind of sat in my pantry for a little bit. Like I wasn't as excited to dive into that one as I was the other ones that had the extra protein in them. So I remember opening that up and like lifting the little plastic lid off, and I saw those chunks of cookies in there. And I was like, what is happening here? What is this? And then I stirred it up and I was like, why didn't I open this earlier? Like, what's happening? And I just became obsessed with that almond butter. All of a sudden, like, I didn't care that it didn't have extra protein. I'm like, this is like the best thing I've ever tasted. The chunks in it just like blew my mind. So I reached out to Leah and I'm like, you know what? I'm obsessed with this almond butter. Like, can we just add some protein in it just for me? Because that's like my thing. I really want some extra protein in it. And she's like, yeah, sure. I'll add some protein. I said, actually, you know what? Can you put extra protein in it for me? Like, let's see how much we can pack into this almond butter, because that's what I want. I want protein. I want more protein, and I want these chunks of cookies. I want like all of this together. It's going to be the most amazing thing. But it turned out that the almond butters were a little too thick for all of that extra protein. So we kind of diverted to peanut butter, and then Breannes Blend was born.
Yeah.
And then for me, it's like, I like the challenge. And she's like, how much protein can you get in there? And I'm like, how much protein can I get in there? I don't know, but I'm on it.
Yeah.
Like then I go down to my little laboratory and start seeing how much I can put in there without it getting all dry. And
yeah. So 15 grams was like that magic number. And I was very happy with that. Like I don't know what's out on the market, but I'm assuming it is the best macro peanut butter that's out there. It's the best I've ever seen.
Yeah.
As far as calories and fat and protein and carbs, and obviously flavor is ridiculous.
And that's really what separates it from all the other blends, is the high protein aspect. And I think people look to the most when they're looking at our butters is the Breannes Blend is high in protein, so I'm going to get this one because it's higher than the others.
Yeah. It's still my favorite, obviously. I mean, for those reasons, like I said, like I'm obsessed with the high protein ones to begin with. But especially because I helped kind of create that one. I really, really like it. Like, it's obviously always stocked in my pantry. It's like my go-to. But anytime the new ones come out, I'm like, okay, I'm going to divert a little bit. I'm going to have some of the new ones and enjoy those, get a little break, because it's nice to have, a little bit of variety. But obviously I always go back to Breannes Blend for that reason.
Yeah. The only other question I had was specifically for Breanne was just to like tell us more about the book that you recently released.
Okay, so like I said, I really gravitated towards the nutrition component when it comes to fitness, because it's really easy for people to get their workout in. It's really easy. I mean, especially someone like me, like I really enjoy working out. I enjoy training hard, but I also really enjoy food. And I've obviously noticed through the years that your nutrition is going to play an extremely important role when it comes to results. So as I dove more into the education side of nutrition myself, trying to dial in my own physique, because I realized that was the piece of the puzzle that I was really missing was nutrition. It was my goal then to spend an entire year. I didn't think I would spend an entire year, but I wanted to write a guide that would help people pull all the pieces together and really simplify nutrition, because it really is simple. And there's just a lot of misinformation and a lot of fad diets out there that just kind of have our minds going everywhere. So my goal was to write a guide that simplified it. These are the things that you need to do. These are the rules that you really need to follow if you want to lose fat, if you want to build muscle. And it's actually very simple, but you just have to be consistent with it and trust the process. So I wrote Master Your Macros, which is a macros-based nutrition guide, and it's going to guide you no matter where you are in your journey. If you're just starting out and you know nothing about macros, or if you've been in it for a while, maybe you have an idea of what foods are healthy for you, but you're not exactly sure what appropriate amounts are for you, then this is going to help you as well. And it's going to guide you through every part of your journey, no matter if you change goals. You're going to know exactly what to do. So like I said, I spent a year writing it, launched it this year, and it's really done amazing. A lot of people are benefiting from the knowledge in there that I have to share. And obviously there's a lot of amazing recipes in there. Some of them have Breannes Blend in there as well. So I'm really proud and excited for what Master Your Macros has to offer.
Where can people find and purchase your book?
So the hard copies can be purchased either on Amazon, and occasionally I will have them on my website as well, breannefreeman.com. And then digital copies are available worldwide on breannefreeman.com. Right now, hard copies are only available to US and Canada, but the digital copy is available worldwide.
As a last note to all the viewers, I want to suggest that you stay tuned on our social channels for an exciting giveaway where we'll be giving 25 winners a copy of Breanne's book along with a Breannes Blend peanut butter.